Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our brand new series, The Giveback. I'm your host, Adam Ignatowski, the creator and founder of Humbler.co. The Giveback mission is to highlight good causes by providing a stage for charitable organizations and volunteers to tell their stories, but also to give you a chance to learn how to get more directly involved within your community. Humbler.co was the inspiration for this show, launching this coming July. And Humbler.co is an online event platform where you could volunteer, buy tickets for fundraisers, all while getting your hours tracked. And so I'll kick it off. Sounds good. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our brand new series, The Giveback. I'm your host, Adam Ignatowski, the creator and founder of Humbler.co. The Giveback mission is to highlight good causes by providing a stage for charitable organizations and volunteers to tell their stories, but also to give you a chance to learn how to get more directly involved within your community. Humbler.co was the inspiration for this show, launching this coming July. And Humbler.co is an online event platform where you could volunteer, buy tickets for fundraisers, all while getting your hours tracked. Imagine a menu filled with information and opportunities to get involved in countless charities, fundraisers, and other campaigns. For more info, you could follow at Humbler.co on Instagram and like them on Facebook to support this social enterprise. Get informed about the needs in your area and, of course, receive exclusive content from the Giveback. Now, we can begin this journey together with our very special guest, our first guest, Executive Director and co-founder of the Clean Bushwick Initiative in Brooklyn, New York, Nicole De Santis. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for doing this. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And Nicole, could you tell us a little bit about what the Clean Bushwick Initiative is all about, and what is your role as Executive Director and co-founder in this organization?
So the Clean Bushwick Initiative was started really just to clean the litter in Bushwick. We have a big litter problem here. It was started by a girl named Sarah Back who lived here at the time, and she started a meetup group to get out on the streets and clean up the litter. I joined that meetup group. I went to what I believe was the first meetup, and it was just her and I. We cleaned a lot of garbage that day together, and then we strategized on how we could get more people to come out by doing things like reaching out to local businesses and giving people incentives like, oh, you come join us for 2 hours, afterwards you get a free drink, things like that. And that did work. Eventually Sarah moved out to Los Angeles and I took over running the group about 2 years ago now.
Right. So in its current capacity, what are the typical exercises or activities a member of the Clean Bushwick Initiative can expect to participate in?
So the main function of the group is, as I said, to go out into the community and clean the streets. But it really is a community group effort.
Right.
There's a lot of amazing people here. So that, that's our main goal, to get the environment of Bushwick to be healthier. It's not just an aesthetic thing.
Right.
Litter has lots of negative impacts on communities, especially.
So, right, absolutely. So it sounds like the litter was a big issue in your community. What made you really want to get involved in a sustainability project and help found this organization? What was it about?
So yeah, my initial interest was because I complained a lot about the litter myself personally. And so, for me, I'm not somebody who's going to complain about something or talk about something and not actively involve myself in trying to make it better. And I really think that, that's an important thing for all of us. We can do small things to create big change. But I'm using this platform additionally to try to educate people on bigger environmental issues and issues around sustainability. So as a group, we last November had, I think it was November, yeah. We had a sustainability workshop, which was amazing at the Star Bar here in Bushwick. It was sold out and we had a wait list for people who, because people do want to know about these issues.
Right.
I think they want to get involved in them. And sometimes it seems daunting and I don't know that people know how. So in whatever ways I feel like I can bring information and opportunities easily for people to get involved, that's what I want to do here.
That's great. So if we could kind of tap into that a little bit more, what are some of those positive things that the Clean Bushwick initiative has brought to the community, and the broader scope of New York City, perhaps? And also, what are some of those positive areas that, you know, maybe you didn't expect when you first joined and founded this organization?
So, well, first of all, you know, right when I started running it myself, I met the two women that run the group with me, Kristen Tadros
Right.
and Deb Rivas, and they're amazing. And you know, we all bring something different to this group, and we work really well together. And then outside of that, I've met just this incredible community of people here in Bushwick that feel strongly about the neighborhood. So for some people it's environmental, for some people it's aesthetics, but it's a really great community of people who are dedicated to making their neighborhood better. And you know, I feel that's such an important thing. We live here, whatever neighborhood you live in, but we live in New York City. We should respect the neighborhoods that we live in. You should care about these. This is your home. The fact that people will go out and trash the streets of the neighborhood they live in, it doesn't make any sense to me. But on a bigger scale, it's tremendously damaging to the environment. I don't think people realize, you know, for example, one of the things that we clean up the most on the streets is cigarette butts. They are so harmful, and they're found in the oceans in incredible numbers. So I don't think people realize that when they're doing that, it has this greater environmental impact. But it's been amazing to meet all these people who really are dedicated to this neighborhood and want to make it better for everybody, not just for themselves.
Absolutely. And when you talk about, you know, the people in the community, I'm sure in this time of crisis, it has been especially challenging to connect to your community. So what are some of these challenges, whether it's within your community or the broader New York City area, that you have had to face during this crisis? And what are some areas that you would like people to act on to help overcome?
So, you know, we've been lucky to have a couple of really great Instagram live events, and we did something with the House of Yes, which is a really great venue here in Bushwick for Earth Day. It's you know, it's hard because we had all these great plans around Earth Day, so that, you know, that couldn't happen in the way that we had wanted it to. But you know, we got around that. We did some live things which were really nice to be able to participate in. And we were really fortunate to Deb, one of the women who I run this group with, she was able to interview Councilman Reynoso about some of these same issues, and he was gracious enough to give us, you know, some of his time. So that's been an amazing thing that's happened during this pandemic, you know, that we've been able to fill in the gaps a little bit there.
Right.
Obviously, we can't get out on the streets and do these cleanups right now. I have some ideas about that, which I can share, but
please do. What are
These
some ideas? Right.
Well, you know,
Absolutely.
that I want people to, you know, we're hoping to have a cleanup soon in June, maybe.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I'm going to get out on Star Street next Sunday. I don't know the date of next Sunday, but I'm going to get out there and clean probably around from 1 to 2, encouraging people to get out on their own blocks during that time, or come if they want to come to Star Street. But get out on your own block, bring a little bag, get your gloves, do your block, do half the block, do just around your building, whatever you feel comfortable with. Take before and after photos and tag us in those photos, or send us those photos so we can post them. Even if we can't be together right now, that would make a huge impact if we had lots of people doing their own little areas. That would make a big dent in this problem, which is really bad right now.
Right.
The litter problem is really bad right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've heard that composting could also be a huge challenge during this time. How has that impacted the community as well when it comes to sustainability?
Composting is, Mayor de Blasio has called for composting to be put on at least 1 year pause. And so that's the citywide composting program, the brown bin program. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it. For some of us, like in Bushwick, where we don't have the brown bin program, we were fortunate enough to have an offshoot of the DSNY, Grow NYC, that had several locations where you could drop your compost off. So all of this has been paused, unfortunately, which for people who don't know, food waste is tremendously harmful to the environment. I think people have this misconception that you throw food in the garbage, somehow it winds up in landfill and it decomposes really quickly. No, none of this is true. It's a tremendous contributor to the greenhouse gases. So pausing the composting program is a tremendous environmental setback. Now, for us here in Bushwick, we do have BK Rot, which is a wonderful community garden that does, eventually they will have drop-offs again, but right now they have a pickup program if you're in their area. There's also another group I don't want to forget, Reclaimed Organics, and people can get a lot of information from the Lower East Side Ecology Center. These are very important places to check out. If you cannot compost using the brown bins anymore, if they do not decide to bring this program back, which I know a lot of the council people are fighting hard to get Mayor de Blasio to change his mind. And there is a petition. You can click on the link in our bio to sign that petition. But if you can't, there are a lot of ways you can do this at home. So please go on BK Rot's website and Google that. There are ways to continue composting. By canceling that program, there's going to be it's a big setback.
Right. And I just wanted to open up because composting, everyone could do their part at least. I know I have some scallions that I put in some water, and now I got some new scallions. So that's pretty cool. That's the little bit that I'm trying after speaking to you and learning, one bit at a time. And I wanted to open it up. Are there any questions from our viewers here today? So let me just take a look and see what we got here on the questionnaires.
And while you're looking at that, I just wanted to say another thing is if you're not able to compost and it's right now, really be mindful of how you shop and how much food you waste, because people composting aside, food waste is just unethical to me. People don't have food. There's so many people who don't have food. The fact that we waste the amount of food we do in this country it's pretty shameful. So when people shop, they can be much more thoughtful about their purchases. Buy what you're going to eat.
Right.
That means you don't, buy in smaller amounts. I highly recommend people plan out your meals a little bit more. Just be thoughtful, because food waste I think I have the statistic here. I want to give it correctly. 1/3 of New York City's trash is food scraps and yard waste.
Oh, wow. So even the little bits, just a couple scallions at a time, I guess can help shift in the right direction. So I guess it's all about having a spectrum in terms of how sustainable you are. You don't have to go to the far end immediately. You could take those baby steps. So I guess if you were to, kind of turn back the clock a little bit and talk to a younger version of yourself, or maybe someone who want to get a little bit more sustainable, what sort of advice would you give them?
Well, I think you touch on a good point. Small steps. Like, nobody started out doing everything right, and nobody's perfect at this. I think I think it can seem daunting, but when you do one thing, it kind of leads to another. And that was my path, I would say. I think that I thought I was more sustainable than I was until I started educating myself about sustainability and environmental issues. I bought a book, I read that book, and I realized, oh, wow, I'm not at all sustainable. I was buying like a cup of coffee before I got on the train, throwing that in the garbage, buying another cup of coffee after I got off the train, throwing that in the garbage. And I didn't even see my part in how much garbage I was creating. So now, I make my coffee at home, my French press, or when things are back to normal. Of course, this is all a little bit tricky with COVID-19. But I bring my reusable cup to a lot of the places. I mean, in Bushwick, everyone was really super supportive of reusables. So obviously we could go into a whole other thing with that. But so yeah, I educated myself, and I highly recommend that people, learn about different things. Pick things that work for you. Another thing, just bring your reusable bags to the grocery store. I have this one, which folds up. I keep it in my bag, and you open it up. It's this great bag for grocery shopping. Yep. Everybody can do that. It's a simple thing that everybody can do. And you start one at a time and see what works for you. Reusable water bottles. I can't emphasize this one enough. Another thing, just bring your reusable bags to the grocery store. I have this one, which folds up. I keep it in my bag, and you open it up. It's this great bag for grocery shopping. Yep. Everybody can do that. It's a simple thing that everybody can do. And you start one at a time and see what works for you. Reusable water bottles. I can't emphasize this one enough. You don't need to get plastic water bottles. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's such a money saver right here, saving money. Reusable paper towels, another big one, big money saver. So all these things, what works for you, you figure it out.
So it could also save you cost as well as, help save the planet just a little bit more. Is basically the sum there.
100%.
So, I think a really important question that, all our viewers are itching to hear, which is our last question, unfortunately, is how can our viewers give back? What is the best way I know we touched upon it in different ways, but if you were to sum it up, what are some of the top 5 best ways for them to give back in this time of COVID crisis?
So, I think, again, we're in a strange time. So, of course, it feels really daunting to people anyway. I think that people need to remember that the environmental crisis, there's a lot of connections, I feel like, with the COVID-19. For example, here in Bushwick, we have very high asthma rates and pollution issues. So having a tremendous litter problem only exacerbates those issues. We have very high amounts of hospitalizations for asthma, and we're very under insured in this community. So these are big problems, and they directly are linked to any kind of lung issues, a lack of insurance. Just, these things are affecting people who are getting COVID-19. I mean, you're more susceptible to it, if you have any kind of problem. So I don't think people realize there is a connection there. The environmental movement, air pollution, all of these things, they don't need to be put on pause. We still have to take these things seriously. Of course, we have lots of things to worry about right now, but there's no reason to think that we can't still be completely committed to the environmental movement during this time. It's really, really important. So how can people get involved? I mean, for me, any little thing you can do, reduce your personal garbage waste, how much garbage you're making, be a thoughtful consumer. And in terms of cleanups, get out there. And if you see garbage on your street, pick it up. I mean, I know people sort of feel like that's the Department of Sanitation's problem. It's definitely not the Department of Sanitation's problem to clean up masks and gloves off the sidewalk. That is mind-boggling to me, that people are not properly disposing of masks and gloves. But yeah, get out, do your own little cleanups. Like I said, I hope people will come out on Sunday, do your own little cleanup on your block, in the area around your building. Every little bit counts, and we're all part of a community, whatever community you live in. It doesn't have to be Bushwick. You can start your own cleanup group, and I am always happy to advise people who want to start those groups. I have helped other people. I'm happy to have a phone call with anyone, email us on Instagram. We're always here to answer any questions people might have. Somebody said, how are you zero waste when shopping? Do you mind if I just see these questions?
Please do. Yeah. Pepper them
How
in.
can we?
And also another one would be can they get involved? You know,
Yeah.
we, so that there's a two-prong. So let's start with the shopping, and then we could tail it with the how do they get involved.
So me personally, I'm a very thoughtful shopper. Any of my friends who know, my family members know that I don't shop a lot. I'm definitely not a big consumer. I mean, that's one thing. I don't buy a lot of stuff. I buy what I need. For example, I've told this to so many people. I used to sort of at whim, go into like a CVS or a Rite Aid or something and buy, how many sunscreens do I have in my bathroom? I haven't purchased anything like that in probably over a year. And I still have, I'm trying to use everything up. I still have, I mean, how many sunscreen? Why do I have all these sunscreens? I don't know. Why do I have all these lotions? I have no idea. But be a more thoughtful consumer. If I go into a grocery store, I don't buy vegetables that are wrapped in, if I can't go to the package-free grocery store, which we are lucky enough to have in Bushwick, I don't buy things wrapped in plastic to the best that I'm able. I mean, yeah, I buy like jarred sauce, things like that, but I really try to avoid any single-use plastic. I don't even understand why they wrap vegetables in plastic. But you just have to be thoughtful. You do the best that you can. It's not easy to be perfect at this. Just do the best that you can. Buy things that you need. I mean, really think about that. I try to evaluate my habits as best I am.
Yeah, take a look at what your past behaviors have been, and just take one piece out of it, and then the next week maybe you take another. So it's incremental, and it builds on itself.
Yeah, I think we all have to see
Absolutely.
ourselves in our behaviors, and how do they
Right.
impact people? How do they impact the environment in a greater way? How do they impact our communities? All the decisions that we make, even going out and cleaning up a few pieces of trash, like it starts somewhere and then you build on that. I feel like if your house is clean, you're more likely to keep it clean, right? I think it's sort of a similar concept with the streets.
So the answer D26 there, I guess it's two-pronged. How can we get involved? One is, go out to your own neighborhood. If you see a little piece of trash, pick it up. Or if you have some leftover, vegetables that you can regrow, do that. Or if you want to just use a reusable bag, do that as well. But, there's another piece of that. How can you get involved in a greater community like Clean Bushwick initiative? And I think, Nicole, I'll leave that question to you.
Yeah, so definitely follow us on Instagram. Email us at any time. I try to write back to everybody as quickly as I can. I'm always happy to have phone calls to talk about any of these issues. I'm certainly not like this great expert. I do have a lot of information. I try to research things and join our cleanups. We will, like I said, we're hoping to do cleanups again in June if we're able. But in the meantime, like I said, I'll be out on Star Street on Sunday from 1 to 2 cleaning my block, and people should come out and clean a little area around their block. Please tag us in those photos.
Yeah.
If you can make a difference if you do small things. I think these things can seem daunting. Don't underestimate your own power, and get involved with local elected officials. That's another thing I wanted to mention.
Absolutely.
We have local elections are hugely important, and in our neighborhood here, we had the former councilman Espinal, and now we have the current councilman Reynoso. These are people who are super accessible when you reach out to them. And they have a lot of power to make change. They care about these communities, whatever community you're in. Reach out to these people. They want to hear from you, and they want to help try to make communities better. So that's another thing I've learned from this, the power of local elections and local officials. The city council is a powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if there's any petitions they could sign as well, to help in that sustainability journey. I think you had mentioned there is a link in the bio that they could go and click to sign up. So please, everyone listening, please sign the petition. Let's get some composting. back in New York City and in the outer boroughs especially, because I think that's going to be an important journey. And if you don't know what composting is exactly, I didn't, to be
Neither did
honest,
I until I
maybe a
started
month
doing it.
before.
Yeah.
So the moment once you learn it, it makes a lot of sense.
And it's really easy. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was so freaked out about it. I was like, I don't know how to do that. It's nothing. You just keep a bag and you put your vegetable and fruit scraps and your coffee grounds in the bag and you just stick it in the refrigerator. I mean, again, it's a little, like I said, it is more challenging now. Unfortunately, there are so many people out there who've been composting and they have freezers full of compost waiting for this this brown bin program to maybe be reinstated. But yeah, so I don't know if there's any other questions on there. If anyone has any other questions, but yeah, do you have any other questions for me about what we're doing?
No, this has been great, Nicole. I think if there's any last parting words you want to give to our viewers, I think that would be great.
Yeah, so get out, clean your blocks, pick one area of sustainability that's comfortable for you. Maybe that's even meatless Mondays. That's another one that people can think about doing.
Right.
Carrying a reusable bag, reusable water bottle. Pick the things that work for you. Start from there. Mm-hmm. Don't stress yourself out. But I think you had mentioned how important education is in all of this. So educate yourself about how these things impact all of us in a bigger way. Start a neighborhood cleanup like we did, or join our group, and reach out to us. We're always happy to answer any questions. And all the things that we were working on, we are in the midst of getting a neighborhood litter-free Bushwick mural painted with the help of the councilman's office and local artists. So all of the projects that my group has been, these things are still going to happen. They're just paused right now, but we're still working on a lot of projects behind the scenes. Yeah.
Absolutely. So everyone, June 2020, get out there and pick some trash up. And this Sunday, do the same. Well, Nicole, thanks again for joining us on the first episode.
Everybody should join Humbler. Follow Humbler. This is a platform
thank you.
Where people can find out about volunteering. No, it's great. I think it's amazing. So
appreciate it.
Absolutely. People should volunteer. It's such an important thing. Even if you give an hour a year, an hour a month, whatever it is, it's important to give back to your community, especially right now. I think people have a little bit more free time. There's ways to give back.
Yeah.
So yeah, Humbler, everyone, please follow them here on Instagram.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You didn't have to make the shameless
plug.
I made it for you.
It's always great when others make the plug for me. If you make the plug too many times, no one wants to listen. So that's great. Thank you.